Hello everybody, my name is David. Thank you for joining me. This is a question and answer video that I do every single week, part 2, Q&A part 2 this week. I'm answering people's questions from last week, and if you have any questions, go down below into the comment section, ask me anything you want, and I'll answer them next week. All I ask, please tell us your locations. We all like to really know. You be general. It's just a way to kind of connect with all of us and let us know that this reaches everywhere around the world and it's a human problem, not just a you problem. Okay? Thank you very much. If you missed part 1, please go watch it. Lots of great questions on there. I make a recommendation every week. Last week I recommended, in part 1 I recommended a vitamin B complex easy melt for absorption. Check it out. Thank you. First question on part 2 is from Willa in New Jersey. Hello. Willa is awesome. Such a great supporter and contributor of this channel. Been around for a while and really helps me out. Thank you so much. I just want to say that. Your question is, what is the difference and similarities between narcissist, malignant narcissists, and psychopaths? Being a people pleaser, do we actually open the door for toxic people? And yes, we sure do. I call us, I say it's agreeability. We agree too much, don't we? We people pleaser means I meet your needs and hopefully you'll meet my needs. I'll take care of everybody first and take care of myself last, if at all. Maybe not at all. That's okay with me. I don't need my needs met. I will meet somebody else's needs. I will meet somebody else's needs. And so guess who that happens to be? Those are people that can't meet their own needs at all, and they freak out, and they're very dependent, and we meet their needs for them. So, let me explain. Narcissist, malignant narcissist, psychopath. So what we have here is narcissist and psychopath. We've got 2 different personality disorders. The malignant narcissist is just, you're describing what, the kind of narcissist. You're just saying they're malignant, which is a cancerous, right? It's something that spreads and kills. And so that's just an adjective. You're describing what kind of malignant or what kind of narcissist. Okay, so 10 personality disorders. We're talking about 2. We're talking about antisocial personality disorder, and we're talking about narcissistic personality disorder. Psychopaths fall under the antisocial personality disorders. So you want to know the difference between these 2 disorders first. And let me tell you, this might be confusing, but all people with antisocial personality disorders also fit the criteria for narcissistic personality disorders. So psychopaths are narcissists, all narcissists aren't psychopaths. So antisocial personality disorder meets the criteria for narcissistic personality disorder. So the difference between the 2 is I'll read some of them. These are some of the diagnostic traits that doctors use to diagnose people with antisocial personality disorder, which are psychopaths. Failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behaviors. They don't respect or conform to laws or other social norms. They go against the grain of society. Pathological liars may use different names, aliases, and they con people for personal profit or pleasure. Very impulsive, can't plan ahead. Irritable and aggressiveness. And they cure problems by physical fights, assaults. They don't care about other people, and they might not even care about themselves or what happens to them. Irresponsible. They don't pay back people or honor financial obligations, may not be able to keep a job. And they have 0 remorse. They rationalize hurting people all the time. I know someone that will hurt people on the daily and talk about it and publicize all the things that they do to people and just rationalize all of it. It's all okay. You shouldn't do this. I can do this. It's okay. Right? Imagine like somebody, imagine if I had a YouTube channel and I'm saying, oh, you can't do that to people, but I'm doing it to people. You can't do that. I'm calling people out. This is a bad person. This person's doing this to people. This person's calling people names. This person's a piece of crap. And they're calling people pieces of crap. You can't do that. You piece of crap. You can't call people pieces of crap. So the rules don't apply to me, do they? And I hurt people and I rationalize. It's okay. No, they hurt me. You can't hurt me. You're an abuser. You hurt me. But I can hurt you because you're a bad person. You're an abuser. It's like, well, I'm doing it too then, right? So, I mean, that's a perfect way to nail a sociopath, which also falls under antisocial personality disorder. So I hope I made that a little clear with the two different disorders. You got narcissistic and you've got antisocial. Two different disorders, very similar, okay? And then in the narcissistic personality disorder, there are three different types, main types of narcissists. You've got your overt or your grandiose, and then you've got who just says, I'm better than everybody, and they abuse people out in the open, might be kind of nasty. Then you've got your covert, which will abuse and hurt people behind closed doors, also known for being like the fragile personality type, or the vulnerable. They feel too vulnerable all the time. They don't tell anybody anything. The quiet, also known as quiet or covert. And then you got the third kind, which is the high functioning, or also known as exhibitionist. And that it's just everything's always okay. I'm perfect. Life is perfect. I'm okay. I'm always happy. And never tell anybody how they feel. Never show you how I feel. Never let you know how I feel. All that matters is looks. That's it. That's all that matters. How I look. And that you think as long as I got everybody fooled that everything's perfect, that I'm perfect, then I'm perfect. That's who I am. Just absolutely zero sense of self. So, Willa, the difference between narcissist, malignant narcissist, psychopath. You have two different types of narcissist, right? In this one personality disorder and this other personality disorder, you have psychopaths. And the difference between all these two here is the social norms, going against the grain of society, where narcissists seem to obey the law still. They kind of they'll play the game, they'll be involved maybe, where the sociopath or psychopath, the antisocial, may stay up all night, sleep all day, litter, upset people every day, manipulate, exploit people, break the law, doesn't matter, attack other people and say, you can't attack other people, only I can, rationalize, things like this. Solve things with violence. Can't keep a job. Can't plan in the future. Doesn't pay people back. Hope that helps, Willa. Thanks. Thank you for answering or asking questions. Keep answering or keep asking questions, please. Thanks, Willa. Jay from Ireland. Hello, Jay. You asked me if my relationship is an addiction, and yes, it is. I don't like the person he is, but can't seem to cut him out of my life or my mind. So I wrote a shortened version of your question because I just felt it was really long. I didn't want to read the whole thing, but I think I understand what you're asking. I shortened it. If I didn't, please tell me, Jay. I felt like I was going crazy because people couldn't see his madness, and he always said, I am imagining things. You said, I spent hours educating myself on this personality type. Last week, he sent you a happy birthday when he was pretending to bring you to a different country for the weekend, but disappointed the week before, or disappeared the week before. You said you're confused and losing hope. And then you said you came across my videos and believe that you wouldn't be here if you didn't. Like, you wouldn't be alive if you didn't come across my videos. And thank you for telling me very much, Jay. You're still being abused by him. You're still in the relationship. And I don't care if he says you're not dating right now or whatever. You're in his life. And this is the damage that's causing to you, how bad you feel, is from abuse. By proxy, right? You're in his range. He needs to be far away from you, no contact. You don't see him, you don't look at him, you don't hear about him, you don't smell him, nothing. Nobody tells you about him, and then you can start healing. Okay? Stop letting him abuse you. Stop letting him hurt you. He's not going to change. Kill that hope. Get help. Have people help you and hold your hand if you need to. But I'm telling you, this kind of psychological damage is going to kill you. You said you wouldn't be here if you didn't come across my videos. It's not over, honey. It's not over. You may not be here next year if you don't get rid of him. Last week, he sent me a happy birthday when he was pretending to bring me to a different country for the weekend, but disappeared the week before. You can't let him hurt you anymore. He's not allowed to abuse you ever again. Don't let him abuse you one more time. And you can figure out how to do that. One way is never talk to him again. I don't understand what you even need a plan 2 for. Why would there be a plan 2? Oh, because he said he changed. Oh, because he's in therapy. Oh, because he promised me he won't hurt me and abuse me anymore. There's something wrong with this person, and he needs a lot of help. Okay, a lot of help to even attempt to change his ways. You have to be far away from him another lifetime, not this lifetime. I'm sorry. Thank you for what you said. That's very sweet. But be sweet to yourself. Be good to yourself. Please don't let people hurt you. Don't let people abuse you. It doesn't matter what he says. Look what he's doing. Doesn't matter if he doesn't mean to. Doesn't matter if he doesn't remember. Doesn't matter if he doesn't know. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you think you deserve it. Doesn't matter if you feel bad. Doesn't matter if he was drunk. Nothing. He is not allowed to hurt you again. Don't let him ever hurt you again. Please. Let me know. Let me know how it's going. Good luck. Kristen from Boston. Hello, Kristen. Will you speak to the addicted to love narcissist? I fell for someone who has a very discernible habit of love bombing and then discard over and over again. He could go from soulmate one day to discard the next. Who is this monster? Will the woman he's with now change him? I'm sorry, Kristen, that's awful. God, we can't handle this. Don't ever do this again. Don't ever be in a relationship like this again. Don't ever break up and get back together and keep doing it. Stop it and change something immediately. And I want you to know it's not that narcissists don't do this or sociopaths or psychopaths. It's an actual diagnosable trait of borderline personality disorder. So he might be borderline. And just throwing that out there. Borderlines do such the idealization to value. People think that it's such a narcissist thing, that all narcissists do that. And then I get all the time people, no, my narcissist didn't do that to me. Never love bombed me, never put me on a pedestal, ever. Didn't say anything, you know. Yeah, it's a narcissist. Borderlines tend to do that more. That's all. If that helps you, I could be wrong. But will the woman he's with now change him? People don't change people, okay? Nobody. Doctors don't change people unless, change their bodies or something, medical doctors. But on who somebody is, other people can't change people, okay? He doesn't know who he is, Kristen. He is so unstable. He has no real sense of self. Completely dependent on other people and loses himself immediately with other people and latches on to who they are and starts mirroring that person. He mirrored you, Kristen, I'm sure, in the beginning. So it won't matter. We gotta realize this. Anybody. It's not about finding Mr. or Mrs. Right and then my life is complete. It's not. We complete our lives. We have to be Mr. or Mrs. Right. Before we find Mr. or Mrs. Right, we have to be right. Okay? Other people don't complete us. We need to be a complete person and date another complete person. Okay? There's no way, it doesn't even, how could a woman change him? How? I mean, are you saying that he loves this relationship so much, he's just now going to be a good person? He doesn't know how. It's not him. It's not as easy as you think to pretend to be a good, healthy person. That will be measured by another good, healthy person. And I'm going to tell you right now that this new person he's dating is not healthy. She's unhealthy. She's sick because she's now dating someone who's very sick, who just got out of a sick relationship with you. So she's sick. So I don't know how she can help change him. She needs to change herself. Thank you. Hope it makes sense. Keep asking me questions. You may still not understand. That's okay. Just keep asking. We got to understand, okay? Thanks. KM from Arizona. Hello, KM. Hi, David. Can you please give examples as to what a borderline episode versus a CPTSD episode looks like if they were given the same situation? Thank you. Thanks for your question. Yeah, I'll try. Let's see. And I didn't think about this, so I don't know. Without being very specific, and this is almost a spectrum, okay? We've got this because they're so close. We've got a personality disorder, though, right? And then we have a stress disorder. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder is a stress disorder, and then you have borderline personality disorder. So in a sense, they're different animals, but really, let's put them on the spectrum of trauma-related stress. Post-trauma. Both of us went through trauma, and this is how we react to it. Okay? It totally changed who I am for my life, if I have a personality disorder. If I have a stress disorder, it's situational. Now we know. It's our reaction to trauma. We all react differently. So if you go like this, you know, most people don't have as much trauma in their childhood, in their relationships, and then you have people that do, and they have CPTSD. And if it controls their whole life and it's totally intrusive, takes them over forever, then they have a personality disorder. So let's say someone with CPTSD is working in a convenience store and a customer comes up and complains and says, you know, I'm not even going to get into an example. It gets too confusing. Upsets the clerk with CPTSD. That clerk starts getting annoyed and they're like, this person's a bad person and they're being bad to me and I've been treated badly by other people and it's wrong. God damn it. And they're going to blurt out something and be embarrassed by it with the person with CPTSD and then go home and, you know, it'll upset them the rest of the day, maybe a little bit, and they go home and it bothers them that night, right? Anxiety levels go up and stuff like that. The person with borderline personality disorder overreacts, can't regulate their emotion, more shame. So now this customer makes them cry and they go to their boss and, oh my God, this customer's so bad. Might even accuse the customer, not just think they're a bad person, might really accuse them of something bad. And the customer's like, what the hell? You know? Because the borderline doesn't regulate their emotion. They could just be irritated. Borderline's so common, man. I hear this so much from borderlines. I'm annoyed. I'm irritated. You're annoying. And it just will take them over. They can't just not bother other people. You've got CPTSD, which will isolate and never talk to anybody again, right? And you've got borderline, which will just bother more and more and more and more people to fix their problem. Way more codependent. It's just, I'm telling you, it's a total spectrum. So many people have been misdiagnosed. So many people with CPTSD have been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. I know a ton of you guys out there have CPTSD and you're like, am I borderline? Am I borderline? Close. Close. I've heard numbers that female borderlines might make up 1/3 of the world population. I'm not kidding. I didn't make that up and I don't know where I got that. But you'll hear all kinds of different numbers. It's really hard to have these numbers and find out, you know, be accurate. I've heard 1/3, I've heard 1/4, I've heard 1/5 of women have borderline personality disorder. And before we understood what PTSD was, and definitely before the term C PTSD was created or coined, then a lot of people were misdiagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Big time. And that's sad, you know, any misdiagnosis. I just think of it as a spectral reaction to trauma. But you have two different things. That's why. You got your stress disorder, you got your personality disorder. More, right? Worse reaction. Regulate emotions worse. C PTSD, having trouble regulating emotions. Borderline, worse. C PTSD has problems with memory, has problems with focusing and attention. BPD, borderline, will misinterpret what you said and think that, and literally in their minds be delusional and said, oh, you said what? And they'll say you said something you didn't even say. Borderlines will make up a scenario that didn't even happen and go tell everyone how awful you are. CPTSD, get mad at people, hyper-vigilant, accuse someone maybe, or just get mad at them, call them a bad name maybe. BPD, exploitation. CPTSD, people pleaser. Borderline, exploit, manipulate, lie. Hope that makes sense. That was the best I could do. Thanks, KM. Without coming up with an exact scenario. And feel free, anybody, come up with scenarios. Come up with your own scenario. And I'll tell you what I think they are doing and why and what they're thinking, what they would do. Nicole from Portland, Oregon. Hello, Nicole. I feel like I healed a lot from the abusive relationship with my ex, but I still think about him every day after 6 months. And then you went into a story about you saw a psychic and the psychic told you, I'm smiling, yes I am. And I'm not going to tell you my opinion. Psychics might be legit. There might be psychics out there. I haven't seen much proof of psychic people, but I think some people are intuitive. I think I'm an intuitive person, but I don't like the idea of people claiming that they know so much more than you, or they know all, but you don't. I know a lot more than you. I'm better than you. I'm more special. I'm more narcissistic. Psychics are very narcissistic. So the psychic recommends a full psychic cleanse. Get the leaves out and burn the sage, right? And get the crystals, and it didn't work. You still think about him. Didn't work. Do you have any suggestions to continue? Sorry, I'm reading more of your question. Do you have any suggestions so that you can stop thinking about him or start thinking about him less? So let's be real clear, right? More clear. You know he's unhealthy, stuff like this, but you miss him. Okay? It's not missing him. You don't really want him back, right? And if you ever sometimes go, well, yeah, actually, I kind of do want him back. Oh, we're forgetting, aren't we? We're forgetting. You know why we're forgetting? Because it's not right in front of us. We got to remind ourselves all the time. We can reach full enlightenment by the afternoon. But guess what? We go to bed, we wake up in the morning, we got to do it all over again. Let's be real clear, Nicole, on what's going on. Cognitively, let's use our skills and have everything right in front of us and not just say, yeah, I know. I remember back then. Let's put it right in front of us. Let's make a huge list. Big piece of paper if you have to, from the ceiling to the floor, and a big marker that lists out all of the awful things he's done, all the bad things he's done, all the sick things he's done, all the things you don't agree with, all the reasons why you never want to talk to this person again. Okay, Nicole? Heal. Keep learning. Keep understanding what happened. So your brain doesn't need to keep thinking about, what was this? What did this mean? That was bad feeling. I don't understand this. What do you think he meant by then? Figure this stuff out. Okay? Try to realize this is a grieving process. This man was a large portion of your life. It doesn't matter how you feel about him. He was a big portion of your life. He took up space and time. 50%, who knows, 40, 60, 30, 70. Big portion of your space and time. And now it's gone. We got to replace it with something else, Nicole. How many more activities are you doing? How many other people are you starting to form relationships with? How many other of your relationships are you making stronger? How much, are you vacationing? Do you have things planned for your future? The more things we have planned in the future, the less likely we are to look in our past. Okay? We've got to heal. We've got to process those emotions and close them, right? Close all the chapters of our life. We don't need to keep them open and not understand or still hurt or be scared of them. Let's face them and understand them and close them. Okay? And grieve. Grieve. Express your emotions. Be sad. Cry if you want to. Be angry. Do stuff. Write it out. Talk to people. Tell people. Let's be really, really clear of the truth. The truth will help you heal. Okay? There's also supplements I offer to take a lot. A lot of this is anxiety. Start treating your anxiety, guys. We don't accept anxiety in our lives. Okay? A lot of this is anxiety, ruminating, anxiety, and depression. We are upset about our past, but instead of doing something about it, we think we need to figure it out by controlling. We're used to controlling situations and people. What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Nothing. Stop it. We think that this is going to cure our anxiety, and it just makes it worse. Do something else. Don't just take the sucker away from the baby, because we don't want them to have the sucker and just leave them sit there with nothing. They're just going to keep missing the sucker all day long till you give them something else to put in their mouth. Replace your loss. Thanks, Nicole. Keep asking questions. Suzanne from the United States of America. Hello, Suzanne. Thank you for talking about anxiety. I will watch it again. Oh, so Suzanne's talking about the video I made last Tuesday about anxiety, navigating red flags. Feel free to talk more about anxiety. And then you go into your ex and you said he scares you and he embarrasses you and he makes fun of you. And you say, if certain people trigger anxiety at the workplace, what can I do? So, interestingly enough, Suzanne, on the video I made last week that you commented on, I suggested Heather Coleman Voss, who is a life coach who helps people with toxic work environments. So if you want to, and anybody else out there, reach out to her, go back to last week's Q&A and check out Heather Coleman Voss. She'll help you do that. She's a life coach that helps people do that. So we have to remember that we still can't accept anxiety, Suzanne, right? So we don't ignore it. We don't put up with it. We don't tolerate it. We don't accept it. You got to do something, because there's always something you can do about anxiety. That's something I try to teach everybody. A lot of times we have emotions, right? And we may not be able to do something about it. But anxiety is something that we can do something about, because you have the cause of anxiety, and then you have the residual effects of anxiety that won't go away because we don't listen to anxiety and we ignore this anxiety that's meant to serve us, and it gets worse and worse and worse, and we end up having anxiety all the time. There's things we can do right away to help anxiety, okay? So we still don't accept anxiety at work. So speak up. Calm yourself. Deal with these things in a great, professional, appropriate manner. If somebody's bothering you so much at work, maybe you need to document everything with a time and a date and how it made you feel. Maybe we go talk to a supervisor, our boss. Some companies have places for you or ways for you to deal with this, human resources, but we also calm our anxiety. So we try and get away from that person that's causing us anxiety, or we ask them to stop very nicely what they're doing, right? Or we ask our boss to help us. There's got to be something we can do to try to stop the source, right? But there's also things you can do, Suzanne, to just help you at the time. So I go through the 3 factors that we have control over, right? And one is sleep.
If we don't get enough sleep, we have lots of anxiety. We could. And if we have lots of anxiety, sleep can help. And then the other one is movement. So we should raise our heart rate every day. If we don't have any kind of movement, we can start getting anxiety. It becomes worse. And if we exercise, then it helps it get better. And if we exercise too much, it can make it worse. And then we have diet. If we don't eat, it can make us anxious. And if we're anxious, if we eat, it can help us feel better. So if we have anxiety, panic, we can, go to bed, sleep it off. We can bring our heart rate up for a few minutes, several minutes. It makes it more manageable. And we should exercise every day. And we can eat. If we feel anxious, we can eat. And we shouldn't skip meals. Okay? I hope that helps. At work, these are some things you can do. The worst, I tell people, just to let you know, those people have just uncontrollable anxiety, panic attacks. Rock yourself. Rock your head. We rock babies that are crying because we know it releases serotonin in their head and they stop crying. Feels good. You can do that for yourself. Whatever you do, don't accept anxiety. Don't let it continue. Do something. Something. Get a new job, right? We don't just put up with massive anxiety at work for 5 years. That will just cause you all kinds of problems. Thank you. Chanel, I'm sorry, I know I'm saying it wrong. I'm sorry. Chanel, from New Zealand. There is a lot of talk about how intermittent reinforcement affects victims of narcissistic abuse. But I wondered, from a comment I remember my ex making about the constant breakups and makeups, whether the back and forth cycle, on, off, mean, sweet, actually affects the person with narcissistic personality disorder also. I haven't seen any discussion on this, so I thought I'd ask what your views are. And I think that's an interesting question. And people don't think about this or ask me about this, but I certainly think about this. And, I hate talking about codependency. Codependency, two, right? There's no such thing as one person being codependent in a relationship. The other person is too, okay? Let's talk about a dependency. This could be, there's addictions in the relationship. One person is an alcoholic. Then both people are codependent. That's not my opinion. I'm just telling you. So, dependency. I'm going to make a video tomorrow about this stuff and dive more into it, okay? But real quick, it's doing the same things to our brains, okay? The rise and fall, back and forth, mean, sweet that you said, on, off. I love you, I hate you. Let's get married, never want to talk to you again. You're the only girl? No, there's Lisa. Oh, I hate Lisa, huh? Both parties are dependent on this. Both parties. You ask, why are we so different then, right? Why is the victim stuck there? Just, oh my God. And then the narcissist just goes right on to the next one, right? Because the narcissist is avoidant. The narcissist doesn't care about who you are inside. The narcissist, you're just a drug, and they just go find a new one. When you're not so good anymore, when you're not so happy and energetic like you were when you met, done with you. Right? When you figure out what they are and tell them that they're a narcissist, now you're shaming them. Doesn't feel good. Go on to the next person. They're just like you. They're addicted like you. That's why they come back and hoover. It's just you both of you are so different. The people that come here and ask me these questions care about people. They care about emotional connection. You tried to emotionally connect with them. They didn't care. They wouldn't. You tried to get them to understand who you are. They're like, I don't care. That's why they couldn't. They don't care who you are. They don't know who they are. They don't care who you are. And they just go right on to the next person. They're dependent on people. They're serial daters. They don't like to be by themselves because they need people for their emotional needs. They don't match them or meet them themselves. I hope that makes sense. But like I said, tomorrow I'm going to dive more into this, okay? And tomorrow's video is going to be about this question. Let me just read it real quick. I think it's Helena. I hope I'm saying that right, from Quebec. I need to know what you think or if you heard about it. After several months, no contact, I was still emotionally attached and missed him so much. Like a spell. I needed to kill this fantasy, so I took the risk to see him, and I had this unexpected revelation. As I filled the gap between my imaginary and reality, the fantasy died right there. Still in shock, it felt good, a relief. Now I'm in mourning. Yeah, I call this grieving with cognitive dissonance. And I'll explain what that is tomorrow. That'll be the title of the video tomorrow. Grieving with cognitive dissonance. Why do we miss the narcissist so much? Why can't we get them out of our heads? Why, when I can't stand them, I hate them, I don't want anything to do with them, I believe that I might fall prey to them that quick if they just call me and ask me. I can't stop thinking about them. I can't stop thinking about sex with them. Okay, so I'm going to make a whole video about this because I've just been asked so much this week. Here's the theme, right? So that's it. I'll answer it tomorrow. Thank you, Helena. Thank you, everybody else, very much for all your beautiful, great questions and all your support and sharing and everything. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you, every one of you. That's it. That's the end of part 2. Thank you very much. If you could support me by subscribing, sharing, liking, posting, all of it. Thank you. All of you. Love yourself first. I'll see you next week. Have a beautiful week, guys. Bye-bye.